Hello friends, in this video we will talk about introduction to Shakespearean drama. We will talk about the features, the characteristics of the Shakespeare's drama. We'll talk about his tragedies, his comedies, and his tragicomedies in his history plays. That what are the characteristics of his all kind of plays. Okay, so watch the video till the end, and let's start without wasting time. Okay, so Shakespeare wrote nearly 40 plays. Okay, in his lifetime. You may find somewhere that he has written 37 plays, or somewhere you may find that he has written 38 plays. But the best way to say is that he has written nearly 40 plays, okay, in his lifetime. So each of his plays falls into one of the four categories, okay. His plays may be comedies, his plays may be tragedies, or some of his plays may be histories, or maybe tragicomedies, okay. Each type of play has a certain set of characteristics, okay. So let's see that. So first of all, let's talk about his comedies. Okay, so the Shakespearean comedy is often thought as being a play with a happy ending. However, this is not a completely accurate description of his comedies. The elements that make a Shakespearean comedy include the following: the language is comedic. The language he has used in his comedies are comedic language, okay. There's usually a love story. You may find in his comedies a love story, okay. More often than not, there is a case of mistaken identity, okay. Plots are often extremely complex, which requires that readers follow along closely. So here is some of the examples of his comedies. So As You Like It in the Merchant of Venice, these are some of his comedies. So The Merchant of Venice is considered to be a comedy, but the play is full of anti-Semitism and features a character who demands a pound of flesh be fed because of an overdue loan. The play is not exactly a happy-go-lucky comedy in the sense that one might think, okay. So let's move further and let's talk about his history plays. So Shakespeare histories are somewhat easier to identify, okay. The plays are named after the historical figure who is the main character in the play. The history plays are all set in medieval England. Also important to note is that the history plays are not completely historically accurate. Shakespeare's plays were meant to offer social commentary and critique rather than to be completely accurate. Shakespeare also has characters from every end of the social spectrum in his histories, and sometimes these characters who range in social class end up in scenes together to illustrate the contrast in the classes. Okay, so let's move further in his histories are. It is important to note that all of the historical plays are based on medieval English history, because Shakespeare wrote other plays dealing with historical figures from the Roman Empire, but these plays are not considered histories. Okay, so let's talk about his Shakespearean histories. So histories dramas include Henry the Fourth Part One and Richard the Third. These are some of his history plays. Okay, so let's talk about his tragedies. So to say that a Shakespeare tragedy is nothing but a sad play is not accurate. This is not accurate, okay. The play often involves the fall of someone of noble stature, okay. The character always has a fatal flaw that leads to his downfall. Their downfall is usually set into motion by external forces that the characters have little or no control over that, okay. So the tragedies are also characterized by a great deal of death, okay. There you may find a great deal of death in his tragedies. Okay, so the tone is usually very somber from the onset of the play, and the plays are meant to examine human nature. So let's move further. So Shakespearean tragedies include King Lear, Hamlet, Julius Caesar, Romeo and Juliet. These four are some of his plays which are based on tragedies, which are tragedies. Okay, so let's move further and talk about his tragicomedies. So tragicomedies contains elements of both comedy and tragedy. There, in his tragicomedy, you may find some of the elements contain some of the elements of comedies and some of the elements of tragedies. Okay, an example of a tragicomedy will be The Tempest. The Tempest is one of his plays, which is a tragicomedy. Okay, so that were some of the characteristics of Shakespeare's plays. Hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching the video.